Oklahoma did blow it because they controlled their destiny, and since beating Texas, they have just been flat, 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 which makes you wonder about that game.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is our favorite administrator, Robert Abbey. Robert, how are you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm living the dream today. We got high school football playoffs starting this week. We've got had my first college game last week, had my first high school game this week. It's a great time of year, man. Let's roll.
Yes, indeed. So on today's Throwdown Thursday edition, segment 1, we're going to go around the territories. Segment 2, we're going to talk about Michigan as well as some breaking news that will hopefully flood your timeline this week. And in segment 3, we'll talk about some things strictly for entertainment purposes only. And Robert keeps nailing me with Iowa. But first, let's go around the territories. ACC, Florida State is rolling. Okay? Don't blow it, kid. Keep winning games, okay? Clemson, a little too late with the win over Notre Dame, messing me up, but, you know. But, Robert, I do want you to keep an eye on Louisville because Louisville might mess up some stuff. The current top teams are Florida State and Louisville in the ACC. Any thoughts on the ACC before we move on, sir?
When do Florida State and Louisville play each other?
If they do, it's going to be in the championship.
Okay.
And Louisville could win that one. They got one loss. They're just hanging around, as my boy TD would say.
Well,
They're just
and
hanging around.
the thing with Louisville, they can score. They can score. And if you can put points on the board, you've got a chance.
Yeah. All right. And the American, Tulane looked bad. Okay. So I hope they wake up because SMU is looking really, really good right now.
Yep.
And Memphis beat South Florida 59-50 in regulation. What is that? Okay. What are y'all doing? Okay. That's not good. All right, Big 12. Oklahoma and me got robbed. Okay. So, Robert, put your officiating hat on. I do not know if you saw that last segment.
I did not.
But that dude got pass interfered with, okay? I don't care. He got pass interfered with. And I said on some earlier shows that if it was ever close, they're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And sure enough, Oklahoma did not get the benefit of the doubt, but okay. Kansas State, keep playing the long game because you're doing very well. Texas is back in the driver's seat, and I think it's going to be Texas who will win this. But any thoughts on the Big 12 before we move on? But yes, Oklahoma blew it.
No, Oklahoma did blow it because they controlled their destiny, and since beating Texas, they have just been flat, 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 which makes you wonder about that game. I can't remember if because Big 12 doesn't have divisions, it's top two teams, I think.
I believe it's top two
thing.
teams. Top two teams.
And I think Kansas State is second place right now. I think, but I don't remember. Everybody, I mean,
no, Oklahoma State is second place. Kansas State is tied for third with a number of teams.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Texas keeps winning. It's not going to matter.
Yeah. All right. Stay tuned for the Big 12, and then next year Colorado comes in.
Yep.
All right, Big 10. Ohio State got another test in Rutgers. Yes, Rutgers. Last couple of weeks, I've been telling you, fans, pay attention to Rutgers. Now, I don't think they covered, but Rutgers played pretty darn well, man. Shiano's doing a good job. Penn State beat Maryland, and now here comes Michigan to Happy Valley, but they're coming at 12 noon and not at night. Happy Valley at 12 noon is not Happy Valley at 8 o'clock at night. Okay. So I still think Michigan's going to go in there and win that thing. Iowa and Northwestern combined for 17 points, fans. And Iowa is still 7-2, and they're going to be ranked. I think they get Rutgers next week. So we still got Michigan, Ohio State, and dare I say Iowa and Penn State. Can Penn State beat them?
Penn State can beat them. I'm shocked that game is not at night. That's a big time game.
Fox got
shocked.
them at big noon Saturday.
I'm shocked at that because you're right. I mean, the fact that it's not at night, that makes it a lot easier for Michigan. I want to go back to Iowa for a
Go
second.
right ahead, sir.
Okay. So Iowa is in first place in the Big Ten West. They have a 4-2 conference record. I don't remember the exact point. Their point differential, they're 4-2. Their point differential is -4. They've scored 82 and given up 86.
This is hard, man. This is hard to watch.
Well, and the other thing, I mean, I keep talking about Iowa, but I saw somewhere of the 10 worst offensive teams in Division One, like 6 of them are in the Big Ten West.
Yes, it's comically bad, and I'm trying to get some money off of. Okay. All right, we're going to move to HBCUs. North Carolina Central's in first place in the MEAC, and FAMU is the team to beat in the SWAC. The Celebration Bowl is Saturday, December 16th, so that's all we're gearing up for. We're going to move to Conference USA. Liberty is 8-0, but shout out to Jacksonville State, which is in Alabama, by the way. I had to check because I didn't know where Jacksonville State was, and New Mexico State. But Jacksonville State held their own against South Carolina, and I didn't know Rich Rod was there. That's where Rich Rodriguez is. He's at Jacksonville State. So he might get a gig next year, and the return of Rich Rod could happen.
Hey, shout out New Mexico State Aggies. That for the first time in school history, they are bowl eligible in consecutive seasons.
Consecutive seasons. Is that the dude with the
guns up?
Guns up. Is that the JUCO transfer you told me about at the beginning of the year that let me down with the bet and I never went back to him?
Yep. Diego Pavia.
I might have to go back to him. All right, I might have to go back to him.
All right,
little action. Toledo is 8-1, and Miami of Ohio leads the other division. So it's probably those two. In the Mountain West, Air Force blew it. They blew it. They lost the Army. Plus, the under was a hot pick, by the way. I didn't take the under, but it was a hot pick. Fresno State and UNLV jump right back in the picture, and this league will go right to the wire because Wyoming is not going to go away without a fight. So check out Mountain West football. It's going to be something. In the Sun Belt, JMU won again. Yes, I know the rules, and so did JMU. But this is special, and they better pay their coach because he's losing out on conference championship bonus, bowl game bonus. They got 3 winnable games. So if they win these 3 games, it's going to be UCF all over again with the mythical national championship. I'm going to hold up a banner or something.
I read somewhere that JMU and Jacksonville State could go to a bowl game if there aren't enough bowl eligible teams.
That is correct.
So let's hold out hope for that.
Man, I hope so.
Because and the NCAA and the rules, it's just one. Well, this is the way we've always done it. Well, that doesn't mean you have to do it that way now.
No, this is special, man.
I hope there aren't enough bowl eligible teams so that those guys get to go to a bowl game because
I agree.
What they're doing is special. Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. All right, Independence. Notre Dame lost to Clemson. What are y'all doing? What are you doing? And they close with Wake and Stanford. And Stanford's like getting in the way of everybody right now. And Army won this week, not last week. So Army, can you get this right for me? I'm trying to make a little money here, okay? Pac-12. Robert, does anybody play defense?
No.
Washington gave up 42 to USC, and they are not beating any current playoff team, okay? Oregon's getting it in. So Oregon's the best team. Washington's undefeated, but that Oregon's playing better. And let's just say their quarterback is very seasoned, just like Washington's quarterback is seasoned.
Yep.
Hey, slow down on the Colorado hate. If you paid attention to this show, Colorado is 4-5 after going 1-11 last year. So whatever they do for the rest of the year is called gravy. Plus, they're going to the Big 12 next year. That's going to be without Texas and without Oklahoma. We told you in the beginning of the year they had no line. Said, hey, who are these high school kids out there playing line? Okay. So they're going to get better and they're going to go to a weaker conference. So they'll win 4 or 5 games this year. Next year, they'll win 6 or 7. And if Dion sticks around for a third recruiting class, they'll be in the mix for a playoff the third year. That's kind of how it's looking. Top teams in the Pac-12, Washington and Oregon. Any thoughts on the Pac-12, sir, before we get to real football?
No, I saw a little bit of Washington, USC, and yeah, no defense whatsoever. But
yeah,
fun to watch.
well,
If you like offense, fun to watch, but
unless they're
no
hard.
defense.
I'd watch this over Iowa. I can tell you that.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, SEC. Missouri was better than I thought, but take that L. LSU came to play. Take that L. Will they buy out Jimbo? Tell me. What's the word on the street at the Libation Center?
That's a lot of money. B, Texas A&M has money. So if they are so inclined, they could do it. They may still be paying for Kevin Sumlin. I can't remember, but because they paid him a lot of money to go away too.
Yeah.
And as I've said before, Texas A&M fans have a very high opinion of themselves, higher than is probably realistic, because they haven't won a national championship since like 1941. So it wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't.
All right. So we got Georgia, we got Alabama, we got Ole Miss on deck. So fans, when we get back, something just broke through right before taping. Want to get Robert's opinion on it, and we'll also talk more on Michigan. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches podcast. In segment 2, there's a story I want everybody to keep an eye on. So the NCAA lost another kind of ruling late last week when a federal district judge awarded a class action status to ongoing antitrust lawsuit. So there's a case called House versus the NCAA that not only the original plaintiffs could proceed with their lawsuit, but potentially thousands of NCAA athletes could be grouped in a class action lawsuit that can potentially harm like the actual running of the NCAA. The lawsuit seeks back pay for NIL and a portion of broadcast revenues. Former Arizona State swimmer Grant House is the lead plaintiff in the case, and he is joined by former Oregon basketball player Sedona Prince and former Illinois football player Tamir Oliver. Under antitrust law, damages would be tripled. Let me say that again, Robert. Damages would be tripled if the NCAA loses, meaning a potential payout of $4.2 billion with a B dollars. The NCAA's net assets for the fiscal year of 2022 was $458 million. So that's bad math. So my lawyer has always given this advice, and friend of the show, Jake Schaller, has also said the same thing. Stay out of court. Whatever you do, don't go to court. Okay? This is a worst case scenario for the NCAA. And it doesn't look good. So a trial is scheduled for January 2025. The NCAA already faces significant legal cases. You had Johnson versus NCAA, which asked that athletes be labeled as employees. You've got Hubbard versus NCAA, which seeks back payment for Alston revenues not paid to athletes. The NCAA sought to limit benefits related to education, such as laptops, study abroad, and the Supreme Court removed that limitation. You got the two basketball prospects we talked about yesterday's show, declared ineligible by Chicago State based on their participation in Overtime Elite. And you also have several complaints that are asking the National Labor Relations Board to declare student athletes as employees. Those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it. The NCAA has not been successful in court. They haven't.
Nope.
So, Robert, with all of that information, and before we talk about Michigan again, what are your thoughts on this latest news that just came across your desk?
Yeah, I don't understand why they wouldn't settle, because you already said it. That's bad math. And I mean, this is one of those unintended consequences for not figuring out NIL on their own, because they didn't figure that stuff out before it broke. Now they are reacting to all of this stuff rather than developing a system, developing parameters, all that kind of stuff that people, I mean, they may or may not have been willing to live with it, but at least you would have had something to start with. But now, I mean, and you know what, Keith, this may be the beginning of the end for the NCAA anyway, because with all of these lawsuits on the table, how are you going to settle all of them?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to settle all of them? And I don't know that you can.
And they don't get the football money. They only get the NCAA tournament money.
Correct.
NCAA basketball tournament money. And fans, on a personal level, these types of situations at the beginning of Robert's and I real relationship, as we were both going through, our research process together. And I talk about in the book the growing adversarial relationship between the NCAA, colleges, universities, the academic side, the athletic side. None of this has to do with getting a degree, and money is going to cause all types of additional havoc when, if you are just willing to give to meet the client's needs, a lot of this could have been avoided, but it's something we're going to pay attention to and that you're going to see in the news over the next few weeks. But let's get back to Michigan. Robert, what do they want us to do if you're an admin? So Big Ten athletic directors met with Commissioner Tony Petty on a video call last week without Michigan's athletic director, Wardell Manuel. Okay, so that's Petty. Okay. And the call was about Michigan's alleged sign stealing operation. And the athletic directors left the call with the notion that Petty is taking the Big Ten's ability to punish Michigan more seriously than before. Again, what do you want him to do? While there's no potential punishment discussed, Petty acknowledged that, speaking with the NCAA about the investigation, he could do something. Well, also on the call, he said he needs to talk to the Big Ten presidents because those are the real bosses. Okay? And what are you going to do? Okay, fine. Michigan's allegedly did something, and in case after case after case, you allow due process to go through. Wait. Actually, you don't let due process go through because you punished Michigan State football players last year, and you have what we like to call on the show selective outrage. So Michigan's president kind of doesn't believe in your authority. And this just in, Connor Stalions resigned from his position. So since that's a personnel matter, we can't address it. And then you've got Central Michigan and Jim McElwain allegedly having Connor Stalions on the sidelines. And you also have researchers now getting involved. Anil Jain, a professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Michigan State, and a nationally recognized facial recognition expert, believes it's highly likely that the images of the man on Central Michigan sideline was Connor Stalions. And what are we doing? What are we doing? So please, Robert, make some sense of this. The floor is yours.
I got nothing, man. I mean, okay, so let's say for the sake of argument, you're going to punish Michigan. Okay. Like you said, what are you going to do? You know what, Michigan? We're not going to allow you to play in the Big Ten championship game. Okay. So let's say that Michigan beats Michigan State, Ohio State. So Michigan can't play in the Big Ten championship game. They're still going to be undefeated. They're still going to be in the top four. They're still going to be in the playoff. You might even be doing them a favor because that's one less game that creates possibility for injury and other shenanigans where kids can do stuff that gets them in trouble for other reasons. So is that going to really hurt them? No. You going to fine them? Can the conference even do that? You going to make them vacate their victories? Okay. Is college football playoff going to pay attention to that? Probably not. What are you going to do? In the end, they're going to play it out to the end of the year. When the season's over, Michigan will agree to pay a nominal fine or something like that, and we will move on because it will no longer be pertinent. That's my guess.
So here are the things I'm looking at. I'm looking at the handshake line. And yesterday, Michigan played Purdue, and Purdue's coach did the blow-by. And next week, Michigan plays Penn State. I don't know if James Franklin's a blow-by guy. I don't know. So everybody's outraged. I can't believe they did this. I knew they were cheating, whatever. But nobody can tell you what they actually want to have done. So you want somebody else to do something, but you want something done. You just don't know what. And that's what we run into all of the time in administration. I'm outraged. Okay, what do you want done? I don't know. Do something. And then when you do something, they're like, you didn't do enough. Or you did too little. Or
how exactly would you like me to handle this situation? What do you want to see happen? And you're right, they can't tell you. And I mean the other thing is, I'm outraged. The other thing is that I think in the end, this is the end for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. I think at the end of the season, he's going to wind up in the NFL again somewhere.
And I have been paying attention to the NFL, and it might not be that easy because if I'm not mistaken, when Jim Tressel, I think, worked for the Colts after his pants gate or whatever was going on, and the NFL suspended him for the same amount of time that the NCAA was going to suspend him. I have to do a little more homework on that, but I think this type of information will come out. But yeah, man, this is a crazy situation. And as we said last week, fans, if I'm in Michigan, I'm letting it play out. Go on and do your investigation. Meanwhile, keep beating the snot out of everybody and make it just obvious that we're better. So I am very curious to watch the Penn State game. And with that, when we get back on the OCP, we'll talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Here's our top 5. Now, I'm so happy the ratings come out every week so we can just tell them how wrong they are, but that's okay. So ours is right. The CFP's is wrong. Georgia's number 1. Stop. They're playing better teams and they're beating better teams than Ohio State. And that Notre Dame win's not looking very good right now. Okay. 2 is Ohio State. They're playing better teams than Florida State. So Florida State is 3. Okay. And then Michigan is 4, only because if Michigan beats Ohio State will leave because that's the rules. And if Michigan loses, then they're out. I got James Madison at 5, just totally out of spite because they're undefeated and they beat everybody in their conference. So, okay. Outside looking in, Washington, but they're not looking very good. Oregon, Liberty is still undefeated. Texas is now back in the driver's seat, and let's just say they are rooting for Texas. I'll just say that. And Alabama keeps beating people, and their only loss is to Texas. And Texas's line is, we have the best win in the country. Alabama at Alabama. Robert, any thoughts? Do you want to make Ohio State number 1? I don't.
No, I think I would rate. I think Michigan is better than Ohio State. I have no reason to say that other than I think they're better.
Yes,
but
Michigan hadn't played anybody, so I'll go into that narrative. Sure,
your top 4 are the top 4.
Yes, and Michigan's got a shot to. If Michigan beats Penn State better than Ohio State beat Penn State, then I'll move them up.
I don't think there's any question there. Those are the top 4 right now. If I had to pick a fifth, if number 5 would be Washington, only because they're undefeated. That's it.
Only because, yes, because Oregon's clearly better than them right now.
Right now, yes.
All right, season-long bets. Now Clemson wants to win, but that's done. Tulane is 8-1, and I have them over 9. Maryland lost again. They're 5-4, and they will have to go undefeated against Nebraska, Michigan, and Rutgers. Yeah.
That don't look good.
No. Texas is 8-1, and I got them over 9.5. I think they can get the 2 wins. I got Troy over 8. They're 7-2. At least I can get the. Well, yeah, I think they can do that. Notre Dame is over 8.5. They're 7-3 right now, and they have Wake and Stanford.
Yeah, they can do that.
They can do that, but man, you got to beat Clemson. I got Utah over 8.5. They're 7-2 with Washington, Arizona, and Colorado. Arizona's sneaky, man. So that's going to go down to the last week. And Tennessee's quite a long shot. They're over 9. And here are the last 3: Missouri, Georgia, and Vanderbilt.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. So last week I was 2-3. Oh, last week I was 3-2. This week I was 2-3. So we've got 20 wins and 35 losses. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. All right, here's how it broke down, Robert. Spread, I had UK minus 4.5. They went to the pay window. I'm dumb. I'm still dumb. I had USC under 77. They got that the first half. My 2 play was Notre Dame and Nebraska. Notre Dame minus 3, Nebraska minus 3. Both of them took L's. My 3 play, Texas, Utah, and Wisconsin. Wisconsin lost to Indiana, and I think Wisconsin was home.
They
Damn
were.
the Crickets. And my upset was the easy one, Georgia Tech over Virginia. I don't know why Georgia Tech was the underdog, but they took care of business. So off to another week.
Let's go. I don't know why you would ever take the under with USC. I don't know why you would ever take the over with Iowa. The in-game, I don't know if you saw this, the in-game over-under on Iowa Northwestern, the in-game went as low as 19.5.
Oh, man. It's terrible. It's terrible. But all right. Week 11 notable games. Ole Miss, Georgia. Does Lane have a puncher's chance?
No.
Miami, Florida State, only for nostalgic reasons. Florida State is at home. You better not lose. Utah against Washington. Washington should win that game. USC versus Oregon. I'm not impressed with USC. And Lincoln Riley's, I mean, for all the hubbub, what you done, kid? Done much. Okay. Tennessee, Missouri.
I will say this about that game. I mean, USC is going to score. USC is going to score. So, the Oregon is going to have to score.
Okay.
And they can, but just watch that.
All right. Tennessee, Missouri. Rutgers against Iowa. So Rutgers is traveling to Iowa after playing pretty well against Ohio State, but Iowa plays a snail's pace. I don't know what's going to happen with that one. Michigan against Penn State. This is Penn State's second shot annually at relevance. Last against Ohio State, I pushed the chips in. Haven't seen the spread yet, so we'll see if I feel the spirit move me. Alabama against Kentucky at Kentucky, so watch out for that. And Maryland at Nebraska is a game of interest to me because Maryland has lost a few. They started off hot every year, and then they have a little swoon. So we'll see what happens with that. Is there any games next week that tickle your fancy or excite your soul?
No, I mean, I think I will be. I will try to catch. I always try to watch Georgia. I like watching Georgia. And I still follow West Coast teams, even though I'm now in the Central Time Zone. So I'll be watching USC and Oregon. I can't remember who Texas and Texas A&M play this week. It's going to be interesting to see what rumblings come out of Aggie land.
All right. So with that, on behalf of my favorite administrator, Robert Abney, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the iCoaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The iCoaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The iCoaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the iCoaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the iCoaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at iCoaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the iCoaches podcast.